Anyway, so we're now in a situation where the sort of breaking news is that there's parts of Spain that are kind of closing down to tourists, and unfortunately they're the bits that we're heading towards. This is our story about our experiences travelling home from Europe at the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak. So earlier on in this series of vlogs, Sean said this.
What's quite interesting at the minute is there's a lot of talk in the media about self-isolating because we're currently in a worldwide kind of crisis with coronavirus, and so we are completely self-isolated here. However, it's going to be really interesting to see as people watch this video in the future and as we revisit this video in the future, and it'd be interesting to see what direction that's gone. It's going to be really interesting to see. There's a lot of panic buying going on back in the UK. Doesn't seem so bad here in Portugal and Spain and places, but yeah, very interesting scenario that's going on currently.
And so the situation has quite obviously changed now. Obviously it's further along, you probably know even more about what's happening now because these videos will come out much later, but for us at the moment things have got quite serious. Places are being shut to tourists, we're being told that it's only essential travel. We've just left Portugal, we've just entered Spain. We are on our way back to the UK, but it's currently Friday and our booking's not until Wednesday. But we're kind of heading through as many bits as we can to try and get closer to the border, essentially. Just because we want to be closer to it, just in case we have to go earlier. And it's a shame, it's a real shame, because, you know, we're quite secure in the van. We're basically self-isolating. We've got loads of supplies on board because as the situation was getting worse, we were hearing that things were getting harder and harder to get hold of, so we thought, well, we'll just, whilst we were in Portugal and things weren't that bad, people weren't panicking, we thought we would stock up on a few supplies so that we could bring them back, or if anything happened and we couldn't stop anywhere else, we would be able to keep going. We're now in a situation where the sort of breaking news is that there's parts of Spain that are kind of closing down to tourists, and unfortunately they're the bits that we're heading towards. I mean, this is all completely new to us. It's not anything we've experienced before, and I'm sure a lot of people feel exactly the same as us. You know, we're stuck abroad, we don't really know what's going on, we're only getting bits and pieces off the internet, and friends and family are telling us stuff, but you know, we're trying to keep as safe and healthy as possible. By the time this comes out, the news will probably be out that I'm pregnant as well, so we've got that to contend with too, because that just adds an extra worry to things. Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to keep as safe as possible, and hopefully things will be okay, but as things are constantly changing, unfortunately this trip may be cut short, and it may not, you know, we may not be able to do as much as, well, we definitely can't do as much as we had hoped to on the way back, because the situation is getting so bad in Spain and France. We're basically going to just now see where we end up tonight. We have got an area in mind that looks relatively, like, it looks far enough away from the areas that we're being told not to go to. So yeah, we're just going to have to head towards that and see basically what happens, and then we'll be heading to France tomorrow, I think.
Okay, so we've just stopped about as close to the border as possible. Lizzie's got her fake mask on. Just to get some fuel, really. This is the about the last fuel stop before France, and France is a lot more expensive than Spain is for fuel. But at the fuel station, and the cafe and everything, it's all on lockdown, so the cafe is all closed, restaurants shut. The actual shop for the fuel is shut. You have to go to the little side kiosk and pay there. So yep, using the fuel pump and obviously making sure our hands are nice and clean afterwards, and just being a bit cautious. But yeah, got to keep travelling. The roads are very, very quiet today.
This is the busiest place I think we've been to, and I think a lot of people have got the same thought that we have, because we've just been told that planes are being turned back from Spain, from the UK, back to the UK. So, you know, everyone's being told, get out of Spain.
Yeah, and also just at this time, the travel restrictions, I know it doesn't affect us, but the travel restrictions to get to the States have just kicked in as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of restrictions coming on now, and
well, they're saying don't travel to these parts of Spain that we've just been through. We didn't have a choice. We were driving through them already.
We just didn't stop.
Yeah.
I know.
Until now.
Obviously, we're in a very fortunate situation that we can be in this van and kind of isolated ourselves. But there's people in a lot worse situations than us. So it's just a case of, yeah, just keep travelling, keep trying to get as far north as we can, really. That's quite good. They're given. I saw him. He's disinfecting the pin machine, like after every single person, and then handed these out. This is quite close still, really, to the infected area, and obviously quite a high traffic area. So yeah, washy washy. Thank you.
Just in case it's not alcoholic.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy though, isn't it? Cheap fuel though.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you can see him doing like loads of washing and stuff there.
Yeah, they're wearing gloves obviously, and yeah, it's just something that we've never experienced before. Obviously, we all keep our hands clean, but you're very, very conscious of it nowadays.
No, but things like SARS and bird flu didn't really do this at all.
No, not at all. Anyway, to France.
Now, it was a lovely quiet air we stayed in last night. We're just wandering into Cleric now. France has shut all let me start again. France has shut France has shut all non-essential shops. So, thinking like patisseries and things might be open still, but yeah, everything else will be closed. So we're just going to try and get some fresh bread. Fingers crossed.
So I thought I'd better just give you a bit of an update as to what's going on with our coronavirus trip back home. I don't know what was last said actually, so it's been probably at least 24 hours since we last said too much about what was going on. We're now north of Le Mans. We've never really been massively concerned about catching coronavirus. That's not really been a huge issue for us. I just want to stop right there. That comment, looking back during the edit, seems pretty baffling. There is no way that we are not scared of catching the virus. It was early days. We didn't know much about it at that time. And yeah, I just want to reiterate that we are very, very aware of how dangerous and how deadly COVID-19 is. Obviously, we've been very careful. You know, we don't want to catch it. There's no question about that. But our biggest concern was we didn't want to get caught and stuck in a country like Spain. Only about 12 hours after we got out of Spain, they have actually started shutting borders and restricting people, especially where we were. So in the northern Basque region of Spain, people have been really restricted and quarantined and been told not to leave their houses, only essential travel. Now you could argue us getting home is essential travel, but it's just not worth the risk. So that's why we were really keen to get to France as quickly as possible. Then when we arrived in France, they declared a state of emergency as well, so we stayed just north of Bordeaux last night, and before we arrived in that particular area, we nipped to a supermarket and it was just crazy. It had gone like what the UK was doing, so everyone was stockpiling and everyone was trying to get as much stuff as possible and prepare for the worst. And what happened was, not long after that, France declared a state of emergency and said that all non-essential businesses must close, and that started today. So we were a little bit concerned that the vets that Bentley needed to go to get his worming tablet, we were concerned that that was not going to be open. We weren't sure whether that was going to be an essential business or not, because the issue we've got is we are going to the vets first thing Monday morning, which is tomorrow, and so it's a weekend, so you can't check these things because they're shut anyway. Anyway, as it transpired, thankfully they put a notice out on their Facebook page saying that do not worry, their clinics are open, so we're okay, they'll be fine tomorrow, we'll be able to get a worming tablet and then carry on. And it's just been so much driving. I think we've done about 5 hours at least every day for the past about 4 days, 5 days, which is just a bit full on. It doesn't sound like much, but it is just a bit full on. Yeah, I mean, partly that's down to two things. One, we were trying to get out of Spain, and two, we left it a bit too late when we were down in southern Portugal. We should have set off a bit earlier, really, but these things happen. We were enjoying Portugal. The beauty is we're in a fantastic van that's got it's got facilities on board, it's got plenty of water, and we can easily get water at places like this. This has got a place where you can fill up water, so we can't complain. We're very lucky. You know, there's people that are having to do this in cars which don't have toilets, don't have a kitchen. We just don't want to get stuck because we do have to be back at work. As part of our jobs, we have to do a certain amount of hours per month, so we do need to get back home. I'm going to leave it there, and we'll see how we get on tomorrow. Hopefully we should be able to get the worming tablet and carry on, but fingers crossed. Oh, they're back, they're back. Are we all good?
We're all good. Look, you even got a little certificate.
Oh, did you get a certificate?
Certificate Sanitaire International pour le transit les animaux de compagnie.
Right, well that's the vets all sorted. One less hurdle done. We've just got the crossing to tackle now. So we've got 2 more nights and then it's our crossing. I think we're going to head up to an area that we stayed at the first night when we travelled into France. Just because it's nice and open, it was free, the barrier was up, because I'm a bit concerned that as the country starts getting more and more on lockdown, that some of the airs may be closing. Our friends who are actually on their way back, they got kicked out the campsite at 8 AM. They really were told that they couldn't stay for very long at all. They were allowed to stay for that night and that's it, and then they were kicked out and the campsite was closing. So yeah, it's a lot of uncertainty that we don't really want to deal with, but at least Bentley's all sorted. That's the main thing. I know that the crossings are very, very busy at the minute as well, so we're going to arrive nice and early at the Channel Tunnel just to make sure that if we have to queue, we should get there in plenty of time. But we've got about 3 hours to this air from here, and then it's about an hour, and our crossing's not until 1 PM on Wednesday, so we should be okay, hopefully. But yeah, give ourselves plenty of time, that's for sure. Oh, there's a support vehicle. Oh, so they're all driving. Yeah, they're all driving separately. So we've just decided to meet up with the guys from Bailey of Bristol who are doing a big sort of tour, but it's actually been cut short because of coronavirus. So yeah, they're in the same situation as us heading back. So we just thought we'd catch up with them and hear their side of the story as well. They've driven for absolutely ages as well, just to try and get back, because they were right in the bottom of Spain when it all started shutting. So they've done a lot more miles than we have in the past few days. So let's take a look at the vehicles that they were planning to take to the Sahara, which unfortunately they've had to cut short. So all the caravans, they've got 2 caravans with them, and they've been towed by SsangYong Rextons. I think they both are. Oh no, sorry, one of them's a SsangYong Rexton and one of them's a Corando. But I love the fact that they've got BF Goodrich tyres as well. But in fact, the caravans have got some Goodyear, Goodyear Wrangler, so they're quite off-roady tyres. But the actual motorhome, another Bailey Advance, I believe it is, that's got BF Goodrich tyres on it, which is pretty damn cool. But I love the stickers that they've got on the side, the camel on there, you can't miss that at all. And then the caravans are Discovery D44s. So they've got 2 Discovery D44s, a Bailey Advance motorhome, and then a fleet of SsangYong SUVs. Quite the setup. Just a shame that they had to cut it short.
So we can't fit in the drive-through, and the McDonald's restaurant inside is shut. So Sean is having to walk in a drive-through because it's 2.75 metres and we are at least 3.1, I think, with the stuff on. I hope he manages it, because I can't be bothered to make lunch. Oh, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good.
Not loud.
What?
I don't know, didn't really understand each other. I said, mon camping-car c'est très grand. And I said, can I walk? And he's like, meh, meh. I basically said, if it's a problem, then it doesn't matter. He's like, no. So.
So the situation just keeps getting worse and more difficult. We thought we had things under control, we don't anymore. So France are closing the borders, which, you know, technically should be fine for us because we're not trying to get into France, we're trying to get back into the UK. So we weren't worried about that until reports started coming through that they're now saying that as of midday tomorrow, so tomorrow's Tuesday, our crossing is booked for Wednesday. So Tuesday at midday, anyone on the roads travelling, or anyone travelling, sorry, has to have a certificate of being allowed to travel. It's a short list of things it includes, so things like getting to work, getting to a medical appointment, or
but only getting to work if you can't work from home.
Yeah, only getting to work if you can't work from home, or getting medicine. That's pretty much the list. Nothing about trying to get home. So our plan was to spend 2 nights in this air here, but if we do that, then we're obviously over the line for the travel ban. We have no facility to print out a certificate. We actually don't come under any of their categories either, so we may not be given a certificate even if we tried. I've checked Eurotunnel's website, they've got no bookings at all tomorrow, it's all sold out, and there was one available at midnight tonight, but we can't use that because that's not within 24 hours of Bentley's pill that he's had, the worming pill, so we can't take that one either. So we have to keep it as Wednesday at the moment. So I think what we're just going to have to do tomorrow is, before midday, we're just going to have to drive to Calais and hope that Eurotunnel let us in, just stay in the car park until they can get us on the next available crossing, which may be like some crazy time at night. We'll probably have to pay the difference, and it's double the price at the moment, but at this point in the day I don't care anymore. And then hopefully get back at some point tomorrow. But Eurotunnel are inundated now with messages. Their phone line is not available because after like 7:30 at night you can't call them. So I've just been messaging them on Twitter and not getting any response yet. So we honestly...
I suspect they don't know.
I suspect they don't know, yeah. It just feels like every time we come up against the barrier, there's something else that crops up within minutes. It changes so quickly. And I've still heard nothing at all from the UK government to say how they're getting their British citizens back. There must be loads of us. We've met so many people on the road who will be in the exact same situation as us, and none of us now know what to do. So I'm at a complete loss and I'm exhausted.
Our other concern as well is if we get to Calais over a day before our crossing, will they actually let us in? If not, are we then stuck outside of the terminal area? Because I'm sure everyone else will be. I don't mind being out, obviously not being able to get into the terminal, that's fine, but we want to be able to get into the actual area, because otherwise, well, it's just a motorway that turns up to it, and there's been issues before with break-ins to vans and stuff like that, for people being stuck outside the actual Eurotunnel terminal area. So we just don't know, like, what if we arrive there early and we're not allowed in, and we have to, yeah, well, we just don't know. We ain't got a clue. It's a bit crazy. It's mad. So next update, we spoke to you last night about what was going on with France and its travel ban. It looks like, reading into it, it looks like UK citizens trying to get back home are not included in this travel ban, so we're probably all right. That comes in at 12 o'clock today, but the speed that this is all changing is so rapid. You get about 6 hours notice, so we're about an hour from Calais for the Eurotunnel. Our crossing isn't until tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Now, I'm not convinced they're going to let us in. If we went there right now, I'm not convinced they're going to let us in, even if we wanted to just camp in the terminal, because I'm sure if everyone did that, obviously it'd soon get full. But we're going to head there, see if we can get on an earlier train, and if not, if we get turned away, then we'll just stay somewhere nearby. I know that they have had issues in the past of potential people trying to get across to the UK, breaking into vans and stuff, but it's just a risk that we're going to have to take. We're in quite a secure van. It doesn't have lockers on the side that can be relatively easily prized open. So we'll just have to see. If it comes to it and we have to do that, there are plenty of airs nearby. Some are more secure than others, I think, and we'll just have a look and see what we can do. If it comes to it and we have to stay up all night and keep our eye on it, then we have to do that. I don't want to be this far south and then the restrictions get even higher, because Eurotunnel keeps saying travel to the UK is permitted and we continue to operate as normal whilst the authorities allow it. It's just that little caveat and stuff. I know they've got to say that, but I don't know. We're going to try it. We had a quick look on the Eurotunnel website, and they have trains, well, they have availability at midnight tonight, which is still quite a long way off, but it's just something that we're going to have to risk. Unfortunately, they're charging like £100 extra to change onto that train, which is pretty frustrating actually, because we just need to get home. Obviously everyone needs to get home, and all the trains, because it's high demand, all the trains are over €200 or 200 quid, which I think they're just profiteering a bit from the fact that everyone needs to get home, which I don't think is right. It's not fair, but it is what it is. There's not much we can do about it, and we're just going to have to give it a bash and see what happens. You'll come along with us and we'll keep you updated on what happens when we arrive at the Eurotunnel. So we've just arrived at the Eurotunnel. We're just at the pet reception bit. You have to go there first. Hopefully we can get him kind of authorised. Oh no, Lizzie's coming back. That seems a bit too fast for my liking. So that was cut short a bit, as you'll notice. Lizzie came back, and in fact I'll let her tell you what happened.
Yeah, I was in the pet passport bit, and it was just filled with dogs and people, and it looked like people were queuing up at the side, so me and Bentley just stayed at the back. Nobody like waved us forward. The staff didn't do anything like that. Honestly, it was filled. Next thing I know, another dog comes in, and Bentley can be quite nervous around other dogs, so I was trying to give them space and they were just letting their dog run loose and whatever.
That's him drinking, by the way.
But then she just, I said, oh, he's nervous, give him space. So she walked a bit ahead of me, but then went straight to the front of the queue, and the staff were sort of helping her, but I couldn't move forward because there were loads of people in the way. Staff were not helping at all. They could see the situation. Then more and more dogs kept coming in, and more people just kept passing me and just going straight to the front of the queue. And then a dog came in just barking like mad, going absolutely nuts, which obviously set Bentley off and other dogs, and everything was just going crazy in there. It was horrific. I just left. And I blame both the staff people for not actually like controlling the situation and making it clear like where like queues were or where people could go if they had nervous dogs, or like saying that I could go to, there's a drive-through which we had never known about before, so they could have said that to us. Instead I had to leave and take Bentley outside so that he could calm down whilst it was going absolutely berserk in there. And thankfully that's when obviously Sean finished this video quickly.
Yeah, well, so obviously people can be absolutely crazy in a crisis, obviously, and people just go a bit nuts. But thankfully, yeah, we noticed that there's a drive-through bit, so the van just fit in. It was a bit tight, but we managed to fit in, and you can drive straight in. You don't have to get out of the vehicle at all. It's perfect for people that have slightly nervous pets. And the guy was really helpful there. Oh. He booked us onto an earlier crossing. We were not due to leave until tomorrow, so we were chancing it really, as you well know, coming here. But we managed to get on the 2:50 p.m. So in like a couple of hours, we were on our way. He tried to put us on the 12:20, but it was 12:05 then, so obviously we missed that one. But still, yeah, the 2:50 is spot on. It's cost us 117 euros to go on that, which is a bit frustrating, but we're on it, so doesn't matter. But yeah, so a bit of a crazy situation. The terminal is got loads of people in it, but nothing's open. Obviously, it's all completely shut down. Just the toilets are open really, and a vending machine. And the vending machine's very busy, unusually. I think it has coffee in it, but there's loads of motorhomes. On the way in, we didn't get a chance to film it. That's Bentley burping. We didn't get a chance to film it on the way in, but as we drove in, there's just motorhomes parked all over the place. Obviously, probably similar to us, where they've turned up and they thought, I'm not paying that kind of figure, and then they wanted to beat the travel ban, so they're now just pitched up at the side of the road. But the main thing is we're here, we've beaten the travel ban, and we've managed to get here, and all is good. We're just a little bit lighter in the wallet. Well, we've actually been called forward. We've made it past the last line of defences, I think. I can see the trains. We are so close. And whilst this all happened, in between us being at the terminal and getting here, the UK government have now announced that all UK nationals that are abroad should head back immediately, unless you're in a certain country that, well, the odd few countries that don't have any cases or any travel restrictions. But yeah, we're pretty pleased we have come back a day early. I know it's cost us some money, but it's the speed that this is changing is absolutely unbelievable. I've never, well, no one's experienced anything like this. Scary, really, but the end is in sight. We just need to get across the channel. That is it. So like I was just saying, the speed that this is changing is unbelievable. As we were talking, Lizzie's just found this.
So I've just checked on my phone, and Clinique Veterinaire Kupertin, who I follow on Facebook at the moment, who's the vets that we went to yesterday morning at 9, they've just written 2 minutes ago, in the current epidemic environment, and so this is translated from French, in the current epidemic environment and in order to limit staff exposure, we've decided to temporarily close the clinic. So, the most frustrating part for me is the fact that this has been going on probably for about 5 days now, that we've had started to have real problems, and borders have been closing behind us, and we have stayed slightly ahead of the curve. Somehow we have just been lucky. there are plenty of people out there who are just behind the curb, and we've had messages of people today saying, what vets did you use, because I can't find ones that are open. And so we gave this advice, but now they're all closing. I just don't know. And the government have only just now said come back now. They could have done this 5 days ago before all of this just went mental.
We're on the train. Can you believe it? Well, that's it. The train is now moving. We are finally, definitely on our way. So I hope that gives you a bit of an insight into our journey back.
The train is stopping.
Yeah.
We're returning to France.
Attention. Back to France you go. Coronavirus has stopped you from going to the UK. I hope that gives you an insight into our sort of journey back amidst a pretty global crisis, really. It's just been, yeah, absolutely nuts, as you well know. But thank you for watching. Something a bit different. I don't think that'll ever happen again. Will it ever happen again? I hope it doesn't happen again anyway. Now, I know we've been very lucky because we've been able to do all but one day of our holiday, and I know a lot of you have had to cancel holidays, so that's a real shame. And obviously worse than that, some people have actually caught the virus, or know people, have family, friends who have also caught the virus. And so our thoughts go out to you guys. Stay safe out there, keep listening to the guidelines, and yeah, keep washing those hands for 20 seconds. Sing happy birthday to washing your hands. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we shall see you in the next video.